leveled.
We heard a very loud boom.
Homes damaged.
There's so much devastation there, and there's a building that's gone and now is a pile of smoldering rubble.
Businesses destroyed.
It almost kind of sounded like, neighbors dropping the whole house out on top of us.
A natural gas explosion in the heart of northwest Portland.
We have one firefighter down.
Firefighters, police, everyday people.
People were screaming, and I just ran.
All of them hurt but alive.
Rubble. It's total rubble. Like a war zone.
Tonight, unanswered questions, stories of heroism, and the long road to recovery just beginning.
It's a scene like none other that I've ever seen.
This is KGW News at 11.
High-powered floodlights, humming generators, a busy scene in northwest Portland 13 hours after the blast.
Northwest Natural says the third-party contractor was digging and hit a gas line, and that leak led to today's explosion. It flattened the Portland Bagel Works building at Northwest 23rd and Gleason. It seriously damaged Dosha Salon next door and Pizzicato across the street. Tonight, residents are back home, but 23rd is still closed from Hoyt to Flanders and Gleason from 22nd to just west of 23rd. Tonight, we're hearing incredible stories of survival and heroism.
We're also seeing the devastation through the eyes of residents getting their first look inside the damage zone. We have live team coverage. Mike Benner, Catherine Cook, and Kylie Boshi all on the scene tonight. We start with Kyle.
A little nearly 2,000 customers are without power right now, so crews are working late. Behind me, you can see the scene. Investigators have got to clear this scene before utility crews can come in and make repairs. And as you can tell, that's going to take some time. Tonight, crews are cleaning up, and survivors now sharing their stories after a massive explosion in northwest Portland.
There could have been deaths today, and it's really coming to me that it's like there were only 8 people injured. How did that happen with this explosion?
9:39 a.m., a massive blast rocks northwest Portland, sending glass flying and smoke billowing into the sky.
There's a gigantic, kaboom, and it shook my apartment over there.
From Sky 8, you can see the devastation on Northwest 23rd in Gleason. The blast destroyed one building and damaged several others.
It blew me off my chair sitting at my apartment right here. I came right off my chair. I thought it was an earthquake.
Fire crews initially responded to a report of a natural gas leak. Witnesses say construction crews hit a gas line while working on a nearby project. When firefighters arrived, they told everyone in a nearby building, including employees at Dosha Salon and Spa, to evacuate now.
They just said, all right, guys, gotta get out right now, and we all ran out. And
minutes later, the building exploded. Firefighters were still inside. This was their radio call for help.
Mayday! Mayday!
Dozens of firefighters, police, and medics raced to the scene.
We have one firefighter down across the street at the corner from the apartment.
This cell phone video shows a second explosion.
We got pushed down next block.
As police pushed everyone back. Officers created a perimeter several blocks wide.
You gotta push down.
Incredibly, no one died in this blast that left a popular corner of Northwest 23rd covered in a blanket of smoke and still smoldering. Back here live tonight, police have the area cordoned off and crews will be here through the night. Again, final count, 8 people injured, 3 of them firefighters, 2 police officers. None of those injuries, though, are life-threatening. Back to you.
Kylie Boshi live in Northwest for us tonight. Thanks, Kyle.
And we have heard from local leaders throughout the day. Tonight, we also spoke with Governor Kate Brown.
She shared a brief statement with us about the explosion today.
I certainly am very concerned and thinking about the families that were impacted today. It was probably extremely scary for the entire community, and I'm just pleased that first responders will be able to act quickly.
At a news conference this afternoon, Portland Fire Chief Mike Myers singled out one firefighter for his heroic actions.
He said Lieutenant Peter St. John did everything right, including getting people out of that building as fast as possible.
My understanding is he pulled those, went in on his own and pulled the fire alarms which allowed those individuals to evacuate, had those steps not been taken, we would have been having a different conversation this afternoon.
St. John was seriously injured in the blast and he needed surgery. Late tonight, we learned he is out of surgery and doing well.
Of course, he wasn't the only one who kept people safe during the aftermath of this explosion.
Dozens of firefighters and police officers were all on the scene today.
KGW's Catherine Cook caught up with one of them tonight, and Catherine, he has an incredible story to tell.
Joe, he was right there when the explosion happened, and wait till you see where it sent him. He ended up hurting his leg a little bit, but it wasn't enough to stop him from getting back up and continuing helping others.
A lot of the debris has been removed from the side of the building.
Battalion Chief Scott Byers was among the first to respond to Northwest 23rd and Gleason minutes before the natural gas explosion. He walked up and down the street, making sure shops were closed and employees out. Then he reached Pizzicato.
I just came up to the door to check it, and it was locked, and this door on the left is the one I was holding on to, and that's when I heard something happening behind me, and all of a sudden the explosion occurred, and it just pushed me into right over the top of that door into the center of the room there. I didn't feel like I was hurt, and I started hearing the Mayday calls, so I got back up and came back out here to see what I was going to look at.
Across the street, Byers saw two firefighters badly hurt after the force of the blast threw them 50 feet.
This fence that's pushed down, that's where the firefighters, as I came out of the building, were up against that, and that's where they were tending to them.
Then Byers and Lieutenant David Woodhouse saw something they could hardly believe. A woman standing atop the pile of burning rubble where, just seconds before, a building had stood.
We needed to get her right away because the fire was just coming up right behind her. The smoke was getting increasing and becoming hard to see her, so we didn't have much time to react. We had to couldn't wait for the ladder, we just needed to get to her. And so we just started climbing up the pile to her and waved her down at the same time.
Byers says 3 firefighters were treated at the hospital. One of them is still recovering after surgery. The end of a day that could have ended so much differently.
Today we were very lucky that we didn't lose somebody.
And the stories of heroism, both big and small, continue tonight. We're told one firefighter went inside the building to rescue a dog before the explosion. And guys, one thing is for sure, the words thank you are not enough for everything first responders did today. Back to you.
Well, it is so miraculous, as we've heard, that nobody was killed. We have so much gratitude for all the first responders. Thank you, Catherine. And there's been so much support for the people of Northwest Portland today. Within just 90 minutes, the Red Cross was on the job. It set up a reception center at the Beth Israel Synagogue on Northwest Flanders. We're told a few dozen people came by tonight, checking in, getting supplies, and finding out about services.
It was a pretty stressful situation for some of them, but I think overall everybody's been really calm. And
Trinity Episcopal Cathedral, just a few blocks away, also opened its doors tonight. It held a special prayer service for the neighborhood.
A lot of people we spoke with today during the immediate aftermath of the blast seemed to be in a state of shock, and experts say that is not uncommon. Today we spoke with a trauma expert with Multnomah County who says many of the people impacted by today's events may not realize it for some time, but when they do, it's important to support them.
People have different responses based on their own past history, whether they've experienced traumatic events before.
Multnomah County says if you or someone you know needs help, you can call their crisis hotline. The number's on your screen, 503-988-4888. A lot of people did get some good news tonight. They were allowed to return home. Almost all the buildings in that area are structurally sound, but a lot of them came home to windows that were cracked or in some cases completely blown out.
Our own Mike Benner now joins us. He continues our live team coverage in Northwest Portland. And Mike, a lot of people who live near the explosion site watch this all unfold on TV and online from their offices.
Yeah, that's right, Laurel. As you can imagine, a lot of people were at work when this happened, and if they couldn't get away, their first chance to see the damage was when they got home, and they didn't know what to expect. Whether it was their home or this scene itself, they were shocked by what they saw.
Dusk near Northwest 23rd and Gleason.
as firefighters were finally standing down and pulling away from the explosion site. Neighbors were getting their first look at the scene and the damage to their homes.
It kind of feels like a mini natural disaster in this 1 block radius.
Eric Barry Sellers and his wife Maddie live on Northwest Gleason, about a block from the devastation. They found windows in their apartment cracked and windows in their building blown out.
It's crazy, and I work down in the Pearl about 10 blocks away, and the windows there rattled like crazy, so I think it went a lot farther than expected.
Across the street, even more damage. Broken glass litters the sidewalk outside Tim Dennis's apartment building.
I say we're a good 100 yards away, and for a stone building to shake 100 yards away, it was a pretty serious blast.
Here comes the firefighters now. Hopefully they have good news.
This man waited patiently as firefighters checked on his business. It's right next door to the bagel shop that blew up.
What's the condition? Intact. All right.
Relief for this business owner and so many others following an explosion that rocked the heart of Northwest Portland.
In the end, no one was killed, and I heard there were some heroics today, so that's good. That's the good news.
Yeah, good news indeed, and tell you what, it certainly makes it easier to handle the inconveniences of tonight. That, of course, the power, it remains out to countless homes, and these same people will be without gas service for some time. Back to you in the studio.
Well, we're all thinking about them and glad to see so much support for all the folks in Northwest Portland. Thank you, Mike.
Our coverage of today's explosion continues next. Incredible images captured by KGW viewers.
Plus, from pizza to volunteers, we'll show you the incredible outpouring of support today.
And we dig into the KGW archives for a snapshot of a similar disaster 30 years ago. As we head to break, some of the sights and sounds from today.
Yeah, it was like a huge explosion.
It was like insane. It felt like a bomb had gone off.
Well, I got knocked over. The co-workers that I was with, was 2 other co-workers, they ran, I got knocked over, and it kept blowing up.
It's a scene like none other that I've ever seen.
I knew it wasn't an earthquake because of that. You know, I knew it had to be an explosion.
Rubble. It's total rubble, like a war zone.
It was really scary.
Glass raining down, glass from everywhere, and debris. It was pretty traumatic.
There were a lot of crying and screaming and running, and yeah, terrified people.
It sounded like, neighbors dropping the whole house on top of us.
The outpouring of just basic help and support from neighbor to neighbor is one of the great things about Portland.
It sure is. The Northwest Portland is always crammed with people, and it was no different today. Many of them pulled out their phones and started recording.
Here is some of the best viewer video you shared with us today.
All right, this is what used to be Pizzicato.
The damage was stunning. Dylan Short was one of the many people out near Northwest 23rd this morning when 3 blasts leveled a building and left it in flames. Russell Toombs was able to get out in the nick of time. He posted this video on Instagram of one of the blasts just moments after he'd been evacuated from a building less than a block from the epicenter. Others, like Andrea Heath, could only watch as a local landmark went up in flames, the smoke visible for miles. Fire crews quickly filled the streets as they worked to help the 8 people injured and douse the flames, a job that took several hours.
And people were quick to jump in and help in the wake of the explosion today.
After the blast, 3 local Domino's pizza stores rallied together to deliver 100 pizzas to the first responders. Portland Fire Chief Mike Myers was floored by the support he and other first responders received from people offering their help. Volunteers with the neighborhood emergency team also showed up to help with road closures and directing traffic, freeing up police and firefighters for other work.
If you grew up in Portland, today's blast might bring back some painful memories.
KGW's Chris Willis went into the KGW archives to dig up a moment from more than 30 years ago many of you may remember.
I just heard a big explosion, and then I dropped my phone and ran to the door, and my door had fell down and my windows was busted out.
Police described 52-year-old Don Nickerson as a very depressed man. Nickerson intentionally lit a natural gas line in the basement of his Northeast Portland home and literally blew up his neighborhood. It happened on Beach Avenue between 10th and 11th Street. The blast sent a billowing fireball into the sky, the impact felt 7 miles away. Power lines were toppled, neighboring homes were ripped to shreds. People were hit with flying glass and debris up to 3 blocks away. Windows were shattered in homes 6 blocks away.
One of their canceled checks flew into my yard, and I live up on 24th between Siskiyou and Klickitat. I think the address was 1017 Northeast Beach.
In all, 3 homes were destroyed, 5 more deemed uninhabitable, and another 5 received major damage. Like today, Portland City officials toured the devastation. Thousands were left without power, and a total of 12 people were taken to the hospital. Chris Willis, KGW News.
Wow, that is so dramatic. We have a lot more on today's explosion on KGW.com tonight. You can read the latest updates anytime, watch video and photos from the scene, and hear from residents and businesses in the area.
Up next, a war of words in the final presidential debate. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump square off over WikiLeaks, foreign policy, and allegations of sexual assault.
Do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
The third and final presidential debate. Donald Trump refuses to say he'll accept the results of the election. Hillary Clinton called his response horrifying.
Well, okay, Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him.
While Trump charged Democrats are rigging the process, Clinton charged Russian President Putin is helping Trump because he wants a puppet in the White House.
Steve Handelsman breaks it down for us from Las Vegas.
Because Putin has outsmarted her.
The personal battle was kicked off by the immigration issue.
But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Getting rid of any violent person, anybody who should be deported, we should deport them. When it comes to the wall that Donald talks about building, he went to Mexico. He had a meeting with the Mexican president, didn't even raise it. He choked.
Trump had charged.
Hillary wants to give amnesty. She wants to have open borders.
Revealed, Trump said, by a WikiLeaks email hacked by Russia. She charged Putin helping Trump.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit that the Russians.
Do you condemn any interference by Russia in the American election?
By Russia or anybody else.
You condemn their interference?
Of course I condemn. Of course I can. I don't know Putin.
What's rigging the election, Trump said, is Democrats and the media.
Sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election.
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
He is denigrating, he's talking down our democracy. And I, for one, am appalled.
Trump figures voters will turn to him as the tough-talking outsider.
In a hurry to try to turn things around, Trump flies to campaign tomorrow in Ohio, a must-win swing state where the polls are tied. Clinton, not in a hurry, plans no campaigning. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Las Vegas.
Back here, Measure 97 supporters are celebrating a big endorsement from Senator Bernie Sanders.
Sanders released a statement saying in part that it was time for big corporations to pay their fair share in taxes. Measure 97 would tax big companies based on sales of $25 million or more and would raise an estimated $3 billion a year for the state of Oregon. A KGW Oregonian poll shows it is a dead heat, with 46% saying they'll vote yes and 47% saying they'll vote no, well within the margin of error.
Matt is here tonight talking about a wet evening and what's ahead tomorrow.
I think a lot of people would endorse some sunshine in the 7-day forecast, and we've got some of that too, but it is rainy outside right now. Let's check out Doppler radar. And the rain will intensify tomorrow afternoon. There may be a bit of a break, actually, in between the rain we're getting now and the rain that will be heavier tomorrow. The rain so far tonight has been on the light side, but we got a few splashes of orange moving up towards Chehalis and southern Washington there, showing us the heavier rainfall. That said, Hillsboro's up to 2/10, Portland at 1300s for the day, 500s up in Scappoose, and Astoria is still at a ½ an inch. I love this sky show just because of the contrast of the grays and the whites. Mount Hood, a little bit of blue right there as the light changes on all the new snow that is up on Mount Hood. There's been about a foot from the last storm. Here's the next storm right here, riding a pretty intense amount of moisture in the jet stream right here that's aimed right at Washington right now. It will sag into Oregon as we go to tomorrow afternoon, and we'll get our heaviest rain when this cold front comes on through. That's not the cold front arrow, that's the jet stream arrow, which of course is going that way. But that's what's all coming our way. And once that front passes through, which you can watch here on Futurecast, here it is at 10 o'clock in the morning coming into the North Coast. By afternoon, just pushing out of the Portland area about 2, 3 o'clock. And then the rain really shuts down. So it'll get heavy for a brief time tomorrow. Then it should shut down. And there could be a brief sprinkle on Friday morning, but I think Friday looks pretty good. Rainfall from that system in tonight through tomorrow add up to about a half, maybe 2/3 of an inch here in the Portland area, but more in the coast range. Looks like an inch, couple of inches up in the southern Washington Cascades. Our high today, 65, and it was 58 in Eugene, 64 in the Dalles. Outside right now, it is 54, and the freezing level at 9,300 feet. Okay, tonight, it's a rainy night in Portland. Tomorrow, we'll have rain in the morning, but I think we'll get sun breaks later in the afternoon after that cold front goes on through. The 7-day forecast, there's no long periods of dry weather. Sorry, Joe. And there's no long periods of wet, stormy weather, which isn't a bad thing either. Biggest dry spell, and there goes the camera.
Oh, that was
got those
fun.
robotic cameras, you know. Sometimes they're just, they get a stray electron and they just kind of go crazy.
Too.
Yeah. Anyway, it should be dry for Friday and most of Saturday, rain Saturday night.
That's good for the Friday night football game.
Yeah, it should be real good for that.
Thank you, Matt. Up next, Providence Park rocking tonight. The first of 2 must-win matches for the Portland Timbers. Orlando's next with the wild finish.
For the better part of a year, the Portland Timbers have been competing in the CONCACAF Champions League tournament. They've traveled and hosted some of the best teams in the Western Hemisphere, but they had to beat Costa Rican powerhouse Saprissa to advance. Nearly 17,000 battled the weather for this one, and it was win or go home. And it's not the start the Timbers wanted, as Saprissa gets a goal in the 24th minute. Visitors take a 1-0 advantage. The Timbers, though, tie it up in the 57th minute. Jack McInerney, the header. But it ends in a tie. That means the Timbers fail to advance. Now they travel to Vancouver Sunday with their MLS season on the line. Tonight, the Blazers beat the Jazz 88-84 in the second-to-last preseason game. Damian Lillard led the way with 27 points in just 28 minutes. Portland closes out the preseason Friday at Golden State. And now it's time to reveal our Friday Night Slice game of the week. Hillsborough at Sandy. They received close to 10,000 votes. It's about to go down, along with highlights from all over the area, right here on Friday night at 11. Let's look at sports.
I think you're looking forward to that Friday night.
I'm ready to go. Can you tell?
I can. We'll be right back. Let's recap our big story tonight. 8 people were hurt in a gas explosion in northwest Portland.
No one died. 3 firefighters, though, 3 civilians and 2 police officers were injured. A third-party contractor hit a gas line just before 9 this morning, leading to the explosion about a half an hour later. Tonight, most nearby neighbors have been allowed to return home, but power is still out.
And you can continue to follow this story on KGW.com and tomorrow morning on KGW at sunrise. Matt, final look at the weather.
Yeah, it's a wet night out there tonight, and tomorrow morning will be wet as well. Should get some sun breaks tomorrow afternoon.
Thanks for watching. The Tonight Show's next.
Have a great evening.